Hello, I'm Van Nguyen. On tonight's program, I am joined by multi-talented Vietnamese Australian Diana Nguyen. Diana is an actress, performer, speaker and comedian. She's also the co-creator of the comedy smash hit Phi and Me. Having recently finished her solo stand-up show called Naked in the Melbourne Fringe 2016, Diana sits down with me and gives me an insight into her life. Diana Nguyen, welcome to Full Story.
Thank you for having me.
You're a very busy woman, from acting to singing to writing, emceeing, even being a drama facilitator. Is there anything you can't do?
Right now is giving my mum a husband and a grandchild.
Fair enough. Isn't it your future ambition?
That's it. I've disappointed her in many things, but this is the latest one. We're working very hard at the moment. Yeah.
Speaking about your mother, let's go back to the very beginning of how your mum came over to Australia. Interestingly enough, you also wrote and performed a play about your mother's experience as a Vietnamese refugee in 2007 called Like Tears in the Rain. So for all those who haven't seen your show, can you tell us the story you grew up hearing?
So at that time, I had finished my university degree and did a subject called Vietnam War and studied about the Vietnam War. And I felt this longing of wanting to know the basis of my mother's story because my mother really didn't want to talk about it. So with that Vietnam War history learning and with my mother in front of me who'd gone through this, I decided to investigate. And at the same time, I was working with refugee young people. And then I realised that my mother's story is in 4 stages, and they're 4 universal stages, like all the refugees or migrants have come to a new country. So it's escape, sacrifice, struggle, and settlement in a new country. And I just wanted to explore those four points and made a 10-minute show called Like Tears in the Rain. And it came from a story I read in history class where a man on a plane, a Vietnamese refugee on a plane, was escaping and was overlooking, the plane was riding over Vietnam, leaving Vietnam in this US helicopter. And in the one line he said, well, it was like seeing Vietnam through like tears in the rain. It was that way, and that stuck with me because when you're leaving your homeland or your home country, I don't know, tears will always fall. And even for me, not being a full Vietnamese, I'm Australian Vietnamese, but for me, there's that longingness of who I am and what my skin is. My skin tells me what I am, but I feel such a disconnect from it. And to imagine someone who's born and bred in that country and had to leave, and that for me is devastating. So that's why I wrote the play called Like Tears in the Rain. Yeah. So
growing up, you said that you identified yourself more as a Vietnamese Australian rather than plain Vietnamese.
Yes.
How did that affect you growing up?
Well, it's interesting. I used to call myself Australian. So I had this I had inner conflict of myself. So there was a stage where I was just a normal kid, and then Pauline Hanson came, and then I became Australian. Didn't want to be Vietnamese. I remember Mum forcing me to go to Vietnamese school at this peak when Pauline Hanson was around. Hated it. And then somehow in my mid-20s, I started doing I'm Australian Vietnamese or Vietnamese Australian, depending who I spoke to. So that it was such a weird thing. I was like having a fight with myself, who I was. But I am essentially Vietnamese Australian, really, aren't I? Because, you know, on presentation I'm Vietnamese, on the outside, and when you look inside, I'm Australian. So, yeah, I still am in my 30s, still debating what I am, especially if I'm interacting with certain people. It'll be, like if I'm with my acting friends, I'm very Australian. I'm with my homegirls down in Springvale, I'm Vietnamese. Or with my family, you know? So, yeah, it's been a debate with myself.
Was there any kind of point in time where you experienced anything like degrading?
Primary school, I had a turbulent home life with my parents. So we moved schools a lot, and I remember going to a very white school. I was the only Vietnamese girl in this school. And I remember coming to the school, and the first thing I remember them saying was, "You got a flat nose." And then I realized I was different. But then in the same kind of strange kind of way, I became very exotic because I was different. So it was like, I'm different, but I'm exotic. And I had a lot of boys kind of like tease and hang out with me because I was this black-haired, apparently yellow girl in this very Anglo school. So that's when I realized I was very different. And then Pauline Hanson, and I remember that moment. It sticks with me. I remember being in the shower in year 7, having a shower, and my head went, oh no, my mum's going to be sent back to Vietnam. And then that's when I realized I can't be Vietnamese anymore. I have to be Australian. Because if I'm more Australian, I'll blend in, I won't be ostracized or anything. So I started, I used to follow football a lot, but I followed football, cricket, very Aussie, no Vietnamese. Yeah, that was a huge shift. From that when Pauline Hanson came out, I remember her coming to Dandenong, people throwing eggs at her. I was like, no, I can't be the enemy in something I mean. And that's really bad because the enemy was my own identity as being Vietnamese. And that's been a huge regret.
Do you have any advice then for those who might be, fighting with themselves?
Oh, it's so hard because, these days we have so many kids having such a difficulty being a teenager. This is just being a teenager. But when you add race on top of it and parent pressure and everything else, all I can say is, for me, my escape was music. Music and dancing, singing. That was what I knew I could always go back to. I could always, feel this is me and not feel being torn. There's so much advice I could give someone, but be true. Surround yourself with people who are good to you. Yeah. That's all I can. And one more thing is positivity. This world lives in so much fear that we need to live in positivity. Even if the world is going crazy behind us, if we follow and fall into that fear, we are no better.
Let's talk about what you fall into, basically your passion.
Yes.
Music, dancing and singing.
Yes.
When did you know you wanted to be an actress?
Young kid, dancing with my dad in the living room in toilet paper, like sprawled all over the place. There's like videos of me just dancing. My parents put Vietnamese music on full blast. Like my parents, they don't realize this, but they made me fall in love with music and performing arts and performing. They wanted me to do that so that when they saw me perform a Vietnamese song, it made them reconnect to their home. Yeah, so that's my mum and my dad, and then school. Really, all those fates that you had, performing, dancing, and then teachers. I remember in grade 4, I was in a choir in church. Oh no, I wasn't in church yet. In a church, and I was just singing a song, and the teacher turned around and said, "I think you need to be in the choir," because I was singing too loud. I don't know I was in tune or anything, but he's like, "You need to go in the choir. You shouldn't be standing behind me singing." So I joined the choir, and I had really good teacher mentors, who kind of made me go, this is more than just a hobby, but let's see. And year 12, I did VCE drama, got ducks in my year level for drama, and I just went, I love this, why can't I do this? And by this time my mum had just given up on me, so I was able to just do it. And I just did drama, and yeah, really good mentors, really good friend mentors who just went, you can do this, even when I felt like, where's the money coming from? How am I feeding myself? Centrelink? No. Yeah, just really good mentors who just said, keep going.
Now, let's talk about Phoebe. You're probably best known for the character you portray, Kim Hyung.
Oh, she's such a riot. I love playing her. I have to say, when we did Feed Me, we were really scared We weren't sure what was going to happen. And we had our first preview show and we knew it was right. We knew this had to happen. And I was so proud that my team, Steve McPhail and Fiona Chow, we did it. We wrote something that was relevant, that was missing. And the character Kim Hyung has morphed so much. This crazy, lovely, tough-loving Vietnamese mother who just essentially loves her son, but has lots of hardcore values. And people ask me a lot, is that your mother? And I'm like, to an extent, but not all. Like, I've had to contribute as well to make it very theatrical. Like, she's not a straight Vietnamese mother. Like, if you had your mum sitting here, she wouldn't be what Kim Hyung is. Like, she wouldn't be like flirting or, you know, saying you're so good, you know. But yeah, she's just amazing. I'm so surprised how she's captivated people.
When I was young, a long time ago, I never needed anyone. I do need someone. Yes. And making love was just for fun. Okay, do it when you get married only. Okay, those days are gone. They are gone. Living alone, I think of all the friends I know. I don't have many friends anymore. But when I dial the telephone, hello, nobody home. Yeah, it's so sad, you know? Yes.
You nail the Vietnamese-born English accent quite well. Does that accent come to you as second nature now?
Yep, I can put it on. I used to do a horrible Vietnamese accent. But I remember the time when I had to study my mum's accent. So I was in the kitchen and my mum was cooking and his mum just talked to me. And then I just remember just listening. And over time, it is what it is now. Yeah, and I love it when Anglo men, when I perform Kim Hyung, come up and say, so I heard you're single. And I actually think Kim Hyung is really Kim Hyung, like I am really Kim Hyung. So, you know, they start to pick me up. This 42-year-old, very good-looking woman. And so when I see that happen, I realize the accent is very, it's real, it's neutral. Yeah, it's not too extreme or anything. Yeah, it's believable.
Can you speak Vietnamese?
Not really, no. And it's my biggest regret. I can speak very colloquial Vietnamese, but my biggest regret of this whole dual identity has not been my language. And I reckon I could have advanced my career so much by now. You know, being a Vietnamese singer, you know, singing all these songs, and that's why Kim Hyung sings those karaoke songs. Yeah, everyone loves it when she sings. But yeah, my biggest regret is not knowing my mother tongue, and that's contributed to my relationship with my mum. And miscommunication with my own community. Oh, it's so frustrating. Yeah, and I know it's simple. I could go to school and maybe learn again, and I could. Maybe I will, but I've got a lot of things on my list to do as well. But the thing is, when I do have children, that's going to be so much more important than anything else, I think. Because regardless of who I marry or, you know, whatever child I have, that gift I give that child is irreplaceable. And that's a second language of the mother or the grandmother. Yeah, so that's the gift I'm going to give my child.
Let's talk about Phi and Me and how it will transition to a web series.
Yes. So the web series, yeah, so Phi and Me has done a great success in theatre. I do a lot of emceeing, guest speaking as her, and I performed in LA, Orange County, the biggest Vietnamese theatre festival, been invited to perform there, and I performed in front of 2,000 people for 4 hours, entertain them. But they don't get to see the story of Phi and Me because it costs us a lot of money to take all these actors and perform and rehearse and stuff. So in 2014, I thought, how can I make Phi and Me get out there? And maybe not just for our community, but make the Western world see our story of this migration story, coming here with nothing, building something for our children, and then being the success story that we are now. So I thought, let's make a web series. So we did a possible crowdfunding, put $11,000 as the maximum, and we raised it in 30 days. And it was a huge shock. All over the world donated. A lot of great friends, a lot of great businesses supported us too. So web series is happening very soon. So we're having our draft reading, and then 2017 we'll be filming.
Speaking about getting your story out there, in 2008, your short story was published in Alice Pung's anthology called Growing Up Asian in Australia. That must have been a very proud moment for you.
It was. I wrote that in 2 days, and then there was a deadline, and I remember Express sending that to the publisher, and then got a letter saying Alice Pung wants your short story. And yeah, I was so excited because I knew Alice Pung because she had written about her experience, of her experience growing up, second generation as well. So it was really great to have that recognition that she really enjoyed the format of how I wrote it, which was 5 ways to support your Vietnamese mother. So yeah, I was really elated that it happened.
And now you're trying to put something together. It's called #TellMeYourStory.
Yes. So 2008 was a long time ago, and in 2010 I went to Vietnam with my mum, and what I realised now in 2016, to me, a version of me in 2008 was that was an old story of me, but what is my present story? So my present story is my relationship with my mum now. So post 2008, in 2010 I went with my mum to Vietnam, and by magical command I got to spend 2 weeks with my mum alone for the first time ever, and that frightened me so much because that meant I had to talk to my mum for 2 weeks and somehow try to have a conversation in Vietnamese or this, very bad English conversation with her. And I freaked out. I remember before it happening that I was thinking, oh my God, how do I talk to my mum? That's such a strange thing, right? How do I talk to my mum? So 2010, my mum and I, me, Ta, we're sitting in my grandmother's kitchen, and during that time, Mum and I would be riding motorbikes, and she'll dink me, and we'd go out to have Kung Tam down by the river, or visiting family and friends, and it was such a connection. But this one night I remember, it was in my grandmother's kitchen at 2 a.m, it was so late, and my mother started opening up to me and saying, I remember that night I went to see your grandmother to say goodbye before I went on the boat. But I never said goodbye to her. I said, I'll see you later. So she didn't have to tell my grandmother this was happening. And I remember that moment going to my head, why didn't I know this earlier? Why am I waiting when I'm a 25-year-old woman to know this? Why didn't you tell me when I was that shitty 15-year-old kid who rebelled? Maybe I would have not been that shitty 15-year-old, and I would have been this good Vietnamese kid who knew my mum's story and didn't take it for granted or slam that door. And 25, I can't swear. Damn it. Damn it. So I realised I need to get to the roots of my mum's story. And 2 years ago, 2014, my mum, in front of these random guests at a dinner table, and she does this a lot. She talks to strangers, not to us, but her memory kind of jogs. She needs to share the experience with strangers. So we're having this dinner with strangers, and then she said, that boat, we went out the Mekong Delta, out to South China Sea. For 4 days we're on that boat. Then we get to this island, and we burnt this boat so that if they caught us, they couldn't turn us back. We went to the island, sat on the beach, and we looked out in the horizon, and we just waited on that beach. And me and my sisters just looked at each other, why is she telling us now why has she kept this, you know? And I call it jewels. Like, this is part of me. This woman who gave birth to me, who did all this so that I could be here right now, taking her so long to tell this story. So that's why the hashtag Tell Me Your Story is about. It's about going to your parents and just asking, tell me your story. And then let me write this down and document it so that when my grandkids or my great-grandkids happen to go, my great-great-grandmother did this for me, or that is irreplaceable. And yeah.
Let's move on to your most recent show called Naked. It's not about your mother or her journey now, it's about your life.
It is. Oh, my mum's a bit in it because she's morphed my current journey too. Can't escape her. Like, I had a review and someone said, oh, your mother's so adorable. Like, yeah, I'm like, well, yeah, that's one version of her. But yeah, Naked is me. Naked is this girl in her 30s, a woman living in Australia, Vietnamese Australian, Australian Vietnamese, just a woman. And these are my experiences of being naked. Naked, what does that mean? And it was so interesting when I did a radio interview in Vietnamese, like, how do you say naked at Chuồng? I was trying to find a better way of saying it, but essentially, you know, once we peel off these layers that we carry as a human person, you know, money, pressure, pride, what are we? And it's basically going to the heart of us. Yeah, and I'm no longer that girl in 2008 writing a story about disappointing my mum as a teenager. It's about me now possibly finding love or being in love, you know, or experiences of people. I travel, you know, it's the 30s story.
So yeah, my mom's like, my mom freaks out. She's freaking out. I'm 30 years old. She's like, Diana, you're getting old now, huh? And there's no one around, huh? You got to put the sperm in, huh? Put the sperm in, huh? You getting old. Did it getting old? Yeah, that's my mum. Now, look, she's really pissed off at me, and she said it numerous times to me already. This is what she would say. Diana, I should have taken that egg out that made you. And eaten it.
You're also a commentator. You've commented for AFL, one of your loves from when you were a child.
Yes.
What's that experience like?
Oh, it's so good and that's one of the things I'm so lucky that in my jobs and career, everything's just morphed into each other. Like, you know, I love football. Imagine commentating in Vietnamese, give it a go. So I gave it a go. Being an actor and then, you know, working with refugees or making shows, and so everything's just morphed in. So being a football commentator was great. And the exposure I got with the wider audience, you know, saying, hey, Vietnamese can be interesting to commentate a game. It's not limited to just being Australian. Like, imagine Australian football became like soccer or something, became more universal. So that was the idea with AFL. They just want more people to be interested in the game and, you know, learn about the game. And I hope I made justice for them while yelling on the commentary. Yeah, which is da ban. Yeah.
You've achieved a lot at your young age. No matter what you say,
There's
you're
more.
very young.
There's more to do.
Looking back though, what are the most memorable moments for you?
Oh, all right. I can list maybe just 5 memories. In year 10, I received an arts award from school. They didn't tell me that I won it. Shock horror. But I think that really planted me that if the staff recognise I'm good, then I'm good. And I'm going to keep going. The next one would be when I was 20 years old. I just finished my Bachelor of Arts degree, no job, kind of leading kind of degree. And I was going to be a teacher. I was going to do dip ed. that was emotion. Like, my mother was waiting for me to have a salary job. Being a teacher is the most safest salary job. Great holiday breaks, whatever. And I remember talking to my year 12 teacher, so I was still friends with him after uni. And I said to him, Steve, should I do my dip ed or should I just keep going with my act, or try this acting? I was 20 years old. And he said, you know what, once you've, just do the acting. If it doesn't work out, be a teacher. That's your backup plan. 11 years on, teaching is still a backup plan. And I'm so grateful for that one person to do that for me. Just keep going. When the Fee and Me got 4.5 stars, that was, oh my God, because we did Fee and Me 1, everyone was happy with 4 stars. We were like, oh man, we can never top that. But I went to Fiona and said, we can keep going. Let's keep going. Did Fee and Me 2, we were a bit worried because it was an actual full story. It wasn't skits anymore. It was a linear story with an end, and we did it. And then I remember going on my phone and seeing my friend saying, oh my God, Harold's Son, 4.5 stars. And we saw it and I was like, ah! Called Fiona, I was like, Fiona, we got 4.5 stars. And I just knew that we did it. Yeah, we just did it. It was so good. That was so good. Yeah, 4.5 stars in a Herald Sun. Not like, TV Tuần-san, but it was like, white people now recognize the work we're doing. Third one would have been going to LA to be invited to perform at Jadot. Yeah, it was nice to get out of Australia and perform outside Australia. And a recognition of me, that all this hard work, like Fee and Me has been around for 6 years now. Yeah, like people just think you wake up, you make a story, but it's been 6 years and it led to where it is. And there's more. The web series is the next journey, so I'm really, really excited. And 4, I'm back at school, and it's a gift to myself. So I've done Fee and Me 6 years, been active for 11 years, but I'm giving this back to me. I'm wanting to learn more because I really believe it's like an accountant or someone doing a degree and they do a CPA or CA. And I thought, if I know what my job is for the rest of my life is, why can't I do a CPA in acting? So this is what I'm doing. Yeah. Last one, number 5. My mum. Yeah. I remember Fee and Me. I don't know why it all goes back to Fee and Me and how huge it's been on my life, but I remember there was a scene in Fee and Me where I was in the audience, and I got to watch my mum in the dark, and she was laughing, but she was hiding behind a poster of Fee and Me to hide from people that she was laughing. Yeah, that for me, to see my mum laugh is really great for me, because I had to fight to be who I was, to be an actor, and even to get accepted by the Vietnamese community too. We're doing something a bit abnormal here, doing theatre, right? But yeah, to see my mum there and to see her now, like I took her to LA with me in February to see how the Orange County people saw her, Kim Hyung, and like she was so proud, And I was sharing the stage with Hyung Lang and what's that woman that was Madonna back in the day, Linda Jang Dai. Yeah, so I was sharing the stage with them, and mum sat in the audience watching me share the stage of these idols that I used to watch with her in Paris by Night number 7, in the videos. So yeah, my mum. That's my number 5. Yeah.
Diana, what's your dream now?
Oh, my dream. I'm going to go and take my show next year overseas because I really feel like it needs an overseas audience. And there's a bit of an itch of me to move to LA. Yes. So get it outside of Australia. I feel like my work's done here. And I need to look after Diana might be LA, it might be somewhere, but I want to get out and see what my full potential is. Yeah, and have a family. That's the dream. But yeah, we'll see what happens. My mum even says to me, Diana, when she was in LA with me, she was like, this is your place. She even knew it too. So if your mother knows it,
she's right.
Yeah, she's right. So there is this movement that I need to get out of Melbourne. Yeah.
Diana Nguyen, it's been a great pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.